Hello everyone, how's everyone doing today?
Greetings from Dovetail Towers, out in Chatham Dockside.
Oh, why you been like
Historic Chatham Dockside. Can everybody hear us okay?
Oh, why you like this? Oh, don't add something.
Hi Caroline. Hi Scooby. What's up, Big Timer? Who else we got?
There we go.
We got the Daft Badger, Soul Reaver, Tim. Nice to see you all again. So we just thought we'd pop online and give you another little demonstration of stuff we're working on and what we've got coming for you in July. We're still tinkering, we're still balancing, we're still adjusting things. So yeah. Lots of exciting new stuff for you to play with. Today we're going to take you in and give you a little show of Lake Miller, which is set up in Wisconsin. So Stephen's just setting up the fishing trip for us now.
How is everyone doing today?
Just go in there.
That one?
Yep, that's fine. Hi the King on YouTube. He just got the game last week and he loves it. Good. We like to see that. We like to see. So this is a bit of a break, a bit of a change for us this lake. We're going into the autumn or fall season. So lots of lovely autumnal colours. You've got the browns and the reds in the trees, as well as the greens from the evergreens. So lovely looking lake, and let's go and see if we can catch some fish.
So today we'll start off with some drop shotting,
which I'll explain as I'm doing it. But yes. Keep following the coast round.
a good spot.
You had a good spot?
Somewhere around here.
It's not very deep.
Oh yeah, we need more depth.
A little bit more maybe. So big timer Jay's again looking, asking me about eels. We still don't have the eels on the short list, so yeah, no more news on that as yet.
Might have been a bit excessive.
So what? Some adjustments that I've been have made to the game recently. So you won't get this in the game that you've got at the moment. So this is just in our dev build. We're still testing it. We're still balancing it. But what you can do is with the soft plastic lures, you can do a sort of a drop shotting technique where you cast it out, wait for it to hit the bottom, lift the rod tip up, lift it up off the bottom of the lake, let it fall back down again, reel in the slack, and you can keep doing that, and you can bounce it a few times across the bottom on the way back towards you, and there's now a greater chance that the fish will take the bait as it's dropping. Now, you know, there are a lot of factors that come into play. You know, which species may or may not be interested in it, and the effectiveness of the colour of the lure depending on the weather conditions you've got at the particular time. So those sorts of things do come into play. So yeah, do bear those things in mind. Have you fished this lake before much, Stephen?
A little bit, not a huge amount.
Just keep letting it drop. Is it still going, or is that the limit of your lines there?
I think that's the limit.
See, we only saw a couple of fish on the radar. It might be best to try and find somewhere with a bit more of a shoal there, a bit more fish showing up. Follow, yeah. No, sorry, yeah. Keep going around this way. This up round this on this corner bit's quite cool. There's this large overhang. It's quite nice. You could try. I would have. So what's, you know, when we drove over here, Stephen just went over the top of some fish. So those fish that showed up on the radar a few seconds ago are going to be sort of behind us now. So you might want to spin it round and cast back the way we just drove through, and we'll see if we can get anything picking up along here. Was YouTube not working last week for the stream, Stephen?
We had some problems with our channel last week.
Oh, got something.
So yeah, sorry for the stream not being on YouTube last week. We had some problems there. It's back again this week. I did mean to upload the VOD of last week's stream.
So what do we think we got on here? Have we got a bass, or have we got a... Could potentially be a trout. So the technique, I would say, you know, for anyone who's struggling when they're fighting the bass, is as the tension meter starts going down, you want to be raising that rod tip whilst continuously reeling. If the tension bar starts increasing and getting near the top, you want to stop the reeling and lower the rod tip down towards where the lure or the fish is at the moment, and that will take more tension off the line. So just kind of get used to working in sort of tandem between your rod position and the tension bar. And if you keep doing that, even with, you know, you play it nicely with, you know, even with a 7-pound line, you can catch those big bass with ease. Obviously, the better the hook set you get, the easier it will be for you to land those. Let's see what Stephen's got here. Little 3-pounder, maybe? 2-pound, 3-pound? £2.14. There we go. We're in. So, a few people on the stream asking about 2 people on a boat, on one boat. We haven't started working on that yet. It is something we all want, and we know that you guys want it. So it is something that I hope to have somebody on the team looking at and doing some testing with, and trying to get that going as soon as we can. So more news on that when I can update you, but yes, I know you all want it, and we would like it as well. So yeah, we'll get to that. Big Timer is asking about first person on multiplayer and first person whilst driving the boat. I have no update for you on that, Big Timer. I will make a note of it. And make sure that it's on the list. First person, the first person in single player, I would like to overhaul that as well. So there's a lot of character movement stuff and what is and isn't displayed in first person mode that I would like improved. So right. So Chad's asking me to explain what we want you to do if you get a blue screen. Now, if you're ever playing on PlayStation and you get a blue screen, and you get those options that comes up in the Sony PlayStation UI, and it asks you if you want to report the problem, always press the report the problem button, because what that will do is send a log of the crash or whatever's happened to the Sony servers, and then we can access it from there. And that really helps us look into and find the causes of any particular crashes, because if you just post screenshots of it crashed and don't send the report, then we don't get the sort of detailed information that we need in order to fix it. So thanks for that, Chad. A similar option, I believe, is available there on Xbox as well. But yeah, it really does help us. So Soul Reaver is asking if there could be an option to see the health or the energy of the fish when you're fighting it. That's an interesting one. So there's kind of two things. When you're fighting a fish, there's two things that are going on mainly. One is that you have the quality of your hook set. So that will be if you've got a perfect strike, then your hook set starting quality will be between 90 and 100%. If you get a good strike, it will be between 70 and 90%. And if you get a poor strike, it could be as low as 30% up to 70% on the starting quality of your hook set. Now think of that like the hook, almost like its health. And so each time that the tension bar reaches the top and the bottom, it will take a bit away from that hook set quality or the hook health. So obviously trying to keep the tension bar between the minimum and maximum and not getting that exclamation mark and that beep means that your hook health isn't decreasing at all, and you've got a greater chance of catching the fish. So if you do get a poor strike, you've got to pay a lot more attention to that, and you can still land the fish, but be really careful about going into the min and the max. Now, so the other thing that's obviously going on is the energy of the fish. So each species has their own sort of unique energy curves, and then the amount of energy a particular fish will have is then going to be dependent on the size of that fish and then where that sits along the plot of the curve. So what you can do is basically if the higher you have the tension bar, so the more pressure you're applying to that fish without it going into the max with the exclamation mark, the faster the energy of the fish is going to decrease. So if you're up against it and the tournament time's running out or something like that, then the quickest way to land the fish is to keep their tension as high as possible. Now we've actually been to sort of go back to the question from Soul Reaver about being able to see the health of the energy, or like the health or the energy of the fish while fighting it. We've been working on a little thing behind the scenes, a little UI element that we still need to do some testing on and get some feedback, do some focus testing on. But the idea is that I don't really want to display the hook set quality as a explicit value. We're still, this is still a simulation game and not an arcade game. We don't want necessarily health bars showing up for the fish, and we're watching them, just watching the health bar go down. But we are working on getting some sort of display so it kind of warns you when the hook health is maybe in the last 10%, or if it's as it goes down through its different levels. So that is something, Soul Reaver, that we are looking at and trying to work out the best way to get more feedback to you as the player, but without sort of ruining the sort of immersion and of the simulation. So hopefully that answers your questions, Soul Reaver. Dave Tomala's asking if we can improve the sound effects for the splash of the fish. We certainly, we look at review, making improvements to the, all the elements of the game every week. So I know my audio guy has been making some changes. I can't remember off the top of my head if there's a particular splash effect for the fish gone in to this July update. It might well have done. Can you just be a bit more specific, Dave, about when you're hearing that? Is it the kind of plop sound as you're fighting the fish and the fish is at the surface, perhaps? So Jacob Smith, hi there, on YouTube, is asking if we will make it so that the player control the landing net. That is something, again, that's on our list to do. I've said it before on the streams, but what I would really like, in order to have to bring the landing net into the game and actually have it as a gameplay feature, is that there needs to be proper gameplay associated to it, and it's not just pressing a button and then it does it. I kind of want that balance of having to use maybe one stick or one control method for holding the rod and trying to get the fish to swim in the right direction, and then the other stick or a different control method on PC for then movement of the landing net in order to get the fish into the net. So that would be I agree, Jacob, that would be a fun feature, but I don't want to put it in until we can do it justice and do it right and make sure it's fun. So hopefully that answers your question, Jacob. Okay, right. No word on the initial first minute of the live tournament, Chad. It should be the same for everybody. We haven't made any changes to that, so that's nothing in the short term for that. So yeah, for anyone new to joining us, hello, welcome, thanks for coming. So what we're looking at here is Stephen and I were just going to be giving you a little demo of the content we've got coming for you in July, due out July the 18th. It's correct, isn't it? Yep.
I think that's what it says below our faces.
Oh yeah, it does. It says it down there. Big free update coming. 3 brand new lakes for you. This is one of the lakes that we're demoing today. If you joined the stream last week, you would have seen Mark and Darren playing on Lake Gunnersville and Lake Travis, I believe. So this is our 3rd free lake. Our first lake in the game that we've set in autumn or fall. And this is Lake Miller, which is up in Wisconsin. So beautiful looking boat, and lots of bass, lots of trout, and maybe even some channel catfish in there for you. So yeah, it's all good. Right. So K12 Outdoors is asking any plans on having perishable gear. So the way we've designed the game at the moment is to not have any perishable gear. We're a premium game, as in you pay your money to buy the game, and then that content is there for you to sort of enjoy. Is the way we look at it. We're not a free-to-play game. We don't have a currency that that we want you to be constantly consuming. I'd be open to discussing it in the future. I'd be interested in your views on it. Personally, if we were fishing now and Stephen catches a big fish and his reel breaks or his rod breaks, that's just going to be, there's not going to be much fun involved in that. He's just going to go back to the shop and buy another one. So unless they've, unless there's something fun and sort of rewarding about it, I'm hesitant to put sort of perishable gear in the game. Now, it would be something that's a lot easier to do if we didn't have real brands in there. But I can't be putting a branded rod or a branded reel in the game and then pretending it is broken after a few hours fishing or whatever. So that's just something that's not going to work with our partners, and I don't think it'd actually be that fun. So
I think some of them give like 10-year guarantees as well.
Exactly. So yes, hopefully that answers that question for you, and maybe gives you a sort of insight into where my thinking's at with regards to perishable gear. But if you can think of parts of the game where it would make it fun and not just become annoying, I'm all ears to good ideas. So have you guys? Yeah, I hope you guys have all seen the species video that came out this week. Should have played that at the start while people were waiting for us.
I should have done. I've got it somewhere available. Yeah. I could do.
Big Timer J seems to think there might have been some hidden species in there. I'm sure we'll do a specific stream on some more of the new species. At the moment, we've shown you channel catfish and barbel. Jacob on YouTube wants to see the barbel again, so maybe we will have a little fish later on one of the lakes that's got the barbel in. There's no barbel in North America, so we're not going to get any barbel on this lake. Aaron Wallace on YouTube is asking if there's any chance to add grayling to the game. That's not on my list of the next 8 fish species we're due to be adding, is all I can say on that. So that gives you, there's some insight there into that there is more fish species coming. And yes, lots, I keep saying it, I say it all the time, but we're just going to keep adding to this game and keep giving you new content and new places to fish, new fish species to catch, and new equipment to catch them with. So there we go. So Jacob on YouTube saying no perishable gear, please. Which you heard my thoughts on that. Hopefully you guys can see why I think that way. So 7 Dropshot wants to see some rainbow trout, Stephen.
I'm trying.
Is there both types of trout in this lake? I can't remember off the top of my head.
I can't remember.
Ooh.
You reading that one?
So Tim on YouTube has asked if there's any budget left in the Dovetail coffers to buy Steve and a comb.
It all went on designing new equipment.
He can borrow mine. I don't get much use out of it. It's fine. She's having a little bit of success. Drop shotting up against this lake wall. It's still dropping slowly, isn't it? Okay, what we got next? So couple of people asking about blue and flathead catfish. They are on my list. I can tell you that much. I can't tell you when you're going to get them, but those two are on my list. Okay. So Jacob's asking about fly fishing. No plans for fly fishing in the short-term future, but I'm sure we will get there. We have a new animator on the team now, so we're able to do a few more things, but he has got a big list of tasks he's already working on. But yeah, we would need some new animation for fly fishing. So I can't promise you anything in the near future, but I'm sure we'll get there as we keep adding more and more stuff to the game. Gaming for fun, it says, is there any plans for adding Jurassic Park Lake in Thailand? Possibly not that one, but there might be another one coming up that some people might have seen little clues about in other videos, and there is certainly some big fish coming, so yes, stay tuned for more news on our adventures around the world of fishing. Chad wants the option to design and colour his own baits, which would be a cool feature. Mixing your own baits on the carp side, that would be fun. Yeah, nothing in the short term on that, Chad, but it would be a cool feature. Jacob wants us to adjust the average size of the bass court. And wants us to make some changes to the spotted bass. I like some of them. Some of those spotted bass. I think are beautiful. Cool. I was playing my Saturday night was wild. I was drinking beer and playing the game, and yeah, I was having a right laugh with it. And I caught, and I was doing a little bit of what Stephen's doing actually, a little practice in the. Like, yeah, flip it off the bottom again. Come on, get it moving up a bit. Yeah, that's it. Let it drop down again. And again, come on. Keep him coming in. And I caught, yeah, this spotted bass just rose up out of the water and hit the lure down by my feet. And it was a beauty. And it just looked amazing as it jumped up out of the water. And then I fought it for, you know, it took me a couple of minutes to bring it in, and then it was gorgeous. Beautiful looking thing. So yes. Hiya Omni Black, good to have you back. What question am I ignoring, Big Timer? You have to say it again. It's gone off the top of my screen. Did I not just answer that? It was Saturday night. Okay. No, there's no option for geotagging and metadata on fish in the game.
That was weird.
Chad wants to see you fishing with the white frog.
Which one?
Will the species be in the July update? There will be lots. Yes, yes, big timer. Yeah, some of them might be specific to a new venue that we are yet to show you on here. So yes. So Dave's asking if there was a change to the northern pikes in the game. We did make a change actually. Because there's all these different variables and these blend shapes and stuff that change, and then different textures and scale patterns come in, and we basically give them a range of how big they can be. And when we first launched the game, there was some of the settings for the pike weren't quite optimal, and the scale pattern was coming out too large and at the wrong angle. So we fixed that. There's still a couple of trophy pike, some of the named pike that I'm not particularly happy with, but because their scales are a bit wrong. But the base pike we did improve. So Dave, you are correct in calling that out, as they do look better than they used to. So thanks for that. Hi Jack, and hi Thaddeus Max. So yeah, Thaddeus, I'm sure there will be lots of sales and stuff going on the DLC lakes when the update comes out and that sort of thing. There's often offers going. And you will also be getting the opportunity to compete in the DLC lakes for free without buying them as part of the DFL, so we'll continue to do that. K12's asking about bass jigs with different trailer options. Again, that is on my list. And also allowing you to be able to rig soft plastics in different ways, like a Carolina rig or a wacky rig. So that is on my list to do. Jacob's asking about sturgeon. Like, we get asked about sturgeon a lot, and they are on my short list of fish to add to in the future. So that's good. So Caroline's asking about two-player mode. So I think. So do you mean, Caroline, 2 players on a boat, or is that 2v2? Or I'm not exactly sure what you're asking about the 2-player mode.
I think she means like local. What was that?
Or do you mean like split screen local multiplayer rather than playing online? Omni Black has seen that we've got a crawfish lure in there, so yeah, that's quite nice. I like that. It's a little diving crankbait from Rebel. It looks like a little crawfish. There's a couple of those in there. They're quite nice. I was just adjusting some of the settings for those earlier because the trout actually quite like those. So yes, so there's quite a lot of new lures coming. We got ones from Smithick, Rebel, Booyah. There's some more Yum lures coming. So yeah, lots of new lures to come. Right. Scooby wants us to make some of the pike tail walk. I would love that. That would be great. Someone else, Hank is asking for eel as well. You boys love the eels.
They're grouping together.
Okay. You're not being ignored, Caroline. Split screen, right, I see you, right, split screen. So the problem with split screen is effectively what you're then doing is asking the console to draw everything twice. And with the, you know, the amount of, you know, triangles and polys that we're drawing and all the textures loading, it would struggle to maintain a decent frame rate at the moment. So I'm afraid, Caroline, that isn't something we're going to be doing in the short term. Obviously, long term. I mean, I love a bit of split screen. I would enjoy that, but it's something that's, you know, rather sad. You know, because everyone's obviously online nowadays. It's something you don't really see as much of the you know, anymore. But I wouldn't ever rule it out completely, but it's not something that's going to happen in the short term, I'm afraid. Okay. So K12's asking about live bait. Yes, live bait is something we want to add as well. We've got coming out in this one, we've got dead bait. I believe Stephen has tried fishing, or Stephen and Mark were fishing with some dead bait the other week. So yes, dead bait will be the best way to target the catfish, and you'll also get the pike and the muskie with the dead bait. Now that I've got the dead baits coming in, I'm changing up the catfish behaviour a bit, and I've stopped them taking some of the Wells catfish. I've stopped them taking some of the lures that they were taking, because that was a little bit unrealistic. So I've turned that off. They'll still take, they'll take the dead baits and some of the large boilies. And you'll also get size 2 hooks and 80-pound braided line as well to be able to catch those big catfish with. The channel catfish is actually possible. You can catch that with quite a few different lures, so that's got more of a range of lures. You know, so that'll take lures and dead bait. Soul Reaver is asking about Mekong catfish. Yeah, they don't take the dead bait, I can tell you that much. But redtail do take the dead bait. Okay. So again, so there's another question about sturgeon from Dave. Omni's asking if we'll get new camera views when we land the fish. I don't think so. Some of them are set up slightly differently for different species. So yeah. Right, so what Stephen's switched to now? What have you got on the hook, Stephen? He's trying to do a bit of float fishing. So one of the changes we've added is that you can catch crappie, bluegill, yellow perch now by float fishing on these American lakes. So he's picked a spot bang in the middle of open water. Not sure that's necessarily the best spot, Stephen, but there was one. I just saw a fish going under it, but yeah. So you can you can now catch the bluegill and the crappie with a float. See that bit you went over? See, when you were like, if you go back the way you just came, there was a bit that rose up. There was a sort of shelf, sort of over here somewhere. If you watch the fish finder, it went up onto a little shelf, and there was a whole load of fish on the top of that shelf. That's a big fish. That's probably a muskie or something. I think it was a bit further right. Okay. Do you want to just open the catch summary screen? So Omni's asking about the catch summary. He's saying more filters on the catch summary. Toggle on and off the 5 largest fish by weight and length. So what's happening here on the what you can see What you can see up here are these little boxes. Now, if you catch, so this is obviously coming in the July update. You know, we're showing you pre-release software here. But if you catch a named fish, like a trophy fish that's a boss fish, you'll get an icon in sort of this box here. Then if that fish is your personal best for that species, you'll get another icon in this one. And then this final box on the right here, this column over here, is for if it's a qualifying species for the tournament you're in. So if you're in a bass tournament, the 5 fish, your 5 biggest bass will have ticks next to them in that column there. Or if, say, you're in a predator event, all your qualifying predators will have ticks next to them, and any carp or whatever else you've caught won't have a tick next to it. So that'll tell you that they're not being counted in the total added up for that event. Hopefully that answers your, or just gives you a bit of insight into what's happening with the catch summary screen there, Omni. So the Maprum's asking, any plans on adding bank fishing and having the ability to move around the boat? I would like to be able to move around the boat. Obviously, I've spoken earlier about wanting to add 2 people to the boat. That would be obviously 1 person at the front, 1 person at the back. Getting you to be able to move around as you wish would be fun. We're just going to have to sort of see how that works when we come to develop that feature. So yeah, bank fishing. Obviously, we've got there's a lot of Euro lakes that you can do bank fishing in. In the future, I hope to add spots for bank fishing and peg setups that you can use in American lakes. And the other thing I also want to do is add a different type of boat. So rather than these bass boats, add in another boat which is almost like a floating peg that allows you to have a sort of 3-rod setup and be able to sort of carp and catfish, fish for those species off the boat. So Stuart wants some more bank pegs in the Cove of the Cats on the Largo, which is something I think would be a good idea. So Chad's asking about spodding on the American lakes. Does it even help? It could help. So what spodding will do? So what's happening in the game all the time is that there are different food sources placed at different places around the lake, and then these will turn on and off at different times during your session. Now, some of those food sources might be set so they can be blown by the wind, for example. So they might migrate across the lake as you're playing a session. So what using the spod rod does, or the throwing stick that we're adding into the July update, what that does is that allows you to place more food into the water. So adding more food to a particular space will attract fish from around that area. So it could affect, although you might be casting out bait that potentially a bass, for example, wouldn't take, it could affect and potentially bring them to the area where you are fishing. Catfishing on a float, brassy bass boy is not. No, you're not going to get a catfish to take the float. Not at the moment. We're going to do a big float fishing update later this year, at which point I'm looking to add in pike floats. So when we add in pike floats, we'll have floats with larger hook sizes on. So I think at the moment, a largest hook you can get on a float is like a 10 or a 12, I think, if I can't remember. But when we add the pike floats in, we'll have floats with larger hook sizes. You can put bigger baits on them, and then the catfish would potentially be able to take those ones, but you'll never get a catfish on the floats. And obviously the other problem is you've got, you know, the float, the bait underneath the float is currently like 1.5 foot deep, and you're not going to get the Wells catfish up at that high in the water. So yes, in the future with the pike floats, yes, for catfish. So K12's also asking about marking areas of the lake on your graph, on your mini map. That is something we definitely want to do. It's something Scott Martin really wants us to do as well, because he obviously uses those a lot when he's out fishing. So that is high up on our list, and I think we'll get there later on in the year. So that'll be good. So, Hunt for Big Bucks is saying that during the single player tournaments, the fish are not shown when they're caught. When they are caught, will this be changed with this update? It's still the same way at the moment, that it doesn't show you the fish. That is something I'm going to change in the future. So exactly when, it still needs to be confirmed when I can get that change made, tested and out to you guys, but that is something high on my list, because I agree with you. I want to see those fish that you catch during the tournaments. I want to see your guy holding the fish, celebrating catching them. So yes, that is something we want to do. So Dave on YouTube, he's saying that when you're holding a big bass, rather than just holding it by the lip, you need to be supporting the bottom of its fish. Now, obviously, you know, we're all about the taking care of your fish here. You know, no fish have been harmed in the production of this game.
Now says that.
Now, I agree that they should be holding it with two hands when they get big. Obviously, they're digital fish, so we're not, you know, that none of them are getting hurt. But it's still I think the right way to do it. And I do have controls we can do when a fish gets over a certain size, that we can make it do a different animation for the catch shot. So I need to task my animator with doing that second pose for when the fish gets over a certain weight, and we'll get that in. So I agree, Dave, and it's something I want to do. Caroline's asking about Xbox 2 and PS5. I've got no comments on that at the moment. We're still in Xbox One and PS4 world at the moment. Okay, trolling for fish on the boat. Yeah, Dave wants to put the poles in pole holders and then just troll a selection of lures out the back of your boat while you're driving along. That'd be quite fun. And Gamer Man wants us to be able to sit in the seat on the boat. Now, you know, it's a small thing, but you know, a lot of people want it, and I would like it as well. And we would also love to be able to let, you know, the carp anglers sit in the bivvy on the side of the carp lakes. So little touches like that is something we would want to get to. So I am sure we will get there in the future. So Chad wants more details on which fish will bite certain baits, like a list. That's something I'm going to have to work with this man on,
yes,
and finding a nice way of presenting that to you. I love seeing, you know, when I you know, I'm on the community groups and stuff. I love seeing it when you guys are telling each other which baits you think work best for you guys in different conditions. I love seeing you share that knowledge out amongst the community. But I do agree that the game could do more in informing you and telling you about what lures and what baits are best for different species. So I've been thinking about this and adding some, potentially adding a section or additional information to the angler's log, perhaps. I also want to get the angler's log displaying when you're in the lake and not just in the front end. Yes, so that is something we will look to do, and I'm sure we can get guides created for Dovetail Live news articles or different postings. Gamerman's asking for an underwater camera. That's not in the plan at the moment. We've gone for a simulation fishing game here, so we're not going with the sort of underwater camera. We're just trying to maintain the view that the angler has in the real world. So that's why we haven't got those. F1 Motorsport is saying hi. Hello there. Hope you are well. Matt Hall is asking about daily tournaments. So is Matt? I wonder if Matt was one of the original Eurofishing guys that used to play the daily tournaments on Eurofishing. Now the reason the DFL, the Dovetail Fishing League, is they're all weekly events, is because I really wanted it to be fair, because the season runs for a whole month, and because we've got the overall standings that adds up your points from the bass, the predator, the carp, and the match series. I really wanted it to be fair and to give people that want to compete in it the whole week to enter that event. People. It's if you had to compete in a tournament every single day in order to stand a chance of winning Angler of the month, for example, that would be really unfair of people that are have got busy lives and children and jobs and having to do all that boring stuff like adulting. So yeah, that's basically the setup at the moment. I do want to add additional live tournaments in the future that perhaps sit outside of the core DFL, which is obviously the one month being a season and every week being different events. So it might be that we get to daily tournaments in a different way that sit alongside the DFL, but separately. Okay, right. Let me find another question. So Christopher's asking about the landing net. So I spoke a bit about that earlier, Christopher Hickman on YouTube. Again, I would like a landing net feature, but it has to have the decent gameplay to go with it and not just pressing a button. So yes, like you say, you have to control and swing the fish into the net yourself, and be moving the rod and the net at the same time. So it was going to take some work to get that in, but I think there would be a nice gameplay feature. Right. So Christopher's also asking about the sponsors. So the sponsors are going to be all over your jersey, on your hat. So you get there's 6 different sponsor slots that you can, once you've got enough followers, when you're playing career mode and you've gone up to pro level, you will get sponsorship offers from a number of different manufacturers in the game, and you can choose to accept those offers and build up your career jerseys as you wish. You have 3 different jerseys actually in the game. So you have one for predator, one for carp, and one for bass. You can change the colours of those independently. So you can have I always like a green one for my carp, a blue one for my bass, and a yellow one for my predator actually, because I like the yellow shirts. Because Watford are obviously the best football team out there. But that's another matter. And what's cool is you can actually, so obviously when you play career mode, if I'm going into a predator event, it forces me to wear my predator shirt with my predator sponsors on it. But when I'm out doing freedom fishing or I'm playing multiplayer game, I can choose to wear one of my career shirts when I'm in a multiplayer event. So yes, you can show off to your friends, when you're playing with them, what sponsors you've got on your shirt. Okay. Hi, Christopher. Thanks for joining us. Yes, Gamer Man, there is lots of new bass lures coming out in this update. Dave is asking, on the world tour, is it offline career mode or online? So it's an offline. It's an offline mode. So it'll be you against. We've got over 100 pro fishermen from the real world going in with their little photos and setting the scores for you to compete against. So yeah, lots of hundreds of events basically for you to take part in. So there's lots of content coming for you. Scooby wants team events in the multiplayer. All right, cheers Omni, take care.
Someone was asking me about that on the Facebook messages. I think it might have been Matt Hall saying, or Chad, saying, can we get team jerseys? And if we do team tournaments. And a good thing you could do is, because you can change them at any time, make your career jerseys the same colours, and then
you could do that, yeah, with the career outfit customization. You're right. You could come up with your own colour scheme for your team jerseys, and obviously if you all team agreed and got the same sponsors as well, that would be good. That would be a way of doing it.
I think I've been lied to about these floats. There's not many fish around, but it's fun to spot.
Right. So Big Timer Jay's asking about getting more players in the lobby. I haven't got the confirmed QA report on that as to whether we're able to increase the numbers yet. So no more information on that yet, Big Timer Jay. K12's asking about a tournament stage and showing your fish being weighed. We do have a tournament stage. You don't see your fish being weighed, but there is a sort of tournament stage going on in career mode. So you'll get a view on that some point in the near future. Ooh, Chad wants just a smallmouth bass tournament on Lake Arnold. It's part of the.
We could do that.
We could target the smallies. Might make it a bit more. Might make it quite interesting. But yeah, as always, he's the man who sets up the DFL events. So if you do have any ideas for specific events, whether it's certain species on a certain lake, then do let us know. Ooh, so Carl Counts is asking if the update's gonna let us look around after we cast our line out. No is the answer to that, unless you're not off a boat. If you're fishing with a peg, you can obviously put the rod down and then you can look around. It's something I would like to get to in the future. We need to overhaul the player movement. I'd like to be able to obviously do things like sidestepping and when holding a fishing rod and actually fighting a fish. Those sorts of things would be good. And obviously when you're trolling on your boat and the lure's out behind you and you're moving forward, you can't look around to see where you're going. To have, there's quite a lot of buttons in the game as it is. So we need to work up a way of getting that into the control scheme that allows you to press a button and maybe have like a free look around. So that would be good. Cool. So this update that we're showing you is coming in July the 18th. Mm-hmm. So it's down there. There it is. July 18th. Out July 18th. As long as I do my job on time and we get it out for you guys. If not, I might be getting I don't know. I don't know what they'll do to me if I fail. But yeah, we'll get it. We'll get there. You guys will have it soon. Don't worry. Okay. Neil Mosley wants the time of day to be progressive. I would like that as well. I'm sure we will get to that stage. Yeah. So the thing with the time of day, we would have to make it so at certain points it transitions from morning to afternoon to evening to nighttime, for example. But giving you an option on before you go into the lake and allowing you to change how often that transition happens is something I would like to do. So I'm with you on that, Neil. We will get there eventually. Tim's asking about getting a deal with Guggen Baits. I'm not the one who's out there making the deals, but our friend Scott is in with those guys, and I'm sure he's looking to get those guys involved as well. So more information if I hear it on that one. Daft Badger and Scooby want a perch-only match tournament for Predator. What? Or
perch-only match for Predator.
Perch-only Predator tournament. That could be fun.
Sure. Which lake? That wasn't a word. Which lake?
Which lake? Yes. Which lake do you want that on? Scooby and the Badge.
Got a walleye, I think, nearby.
A walleye?
Do we have any lakes?
He's not going to take what's on your float.
Do we have any lakes that have trout and barbel in? Does Bergsey have it? I know that's got trout.
I don't. I know the barbel went into Largo. I don't know if the trout went into Largo. I can't think. Right. We will get to the carp in the US lakes at some point. Yep, that is something we want to do. So Robert D on YouTube is asking, after the update, will it be more realistic like bass fishing? Would £20 fluoro be more fishy and cast further than £50 braid? Don't know what you mean by more fishy, but no, the distance the different lines cast, there is no changes to that at the moment in plan for July. Okay. So Neil's asking about fishing with more than one rod on a boat, like with the rod rest. Yes, I mentioned that earlier. I want to be putting new types of boat in that's going to allow that. So I can't tell you when that's going to be, but it's something I would like. Matt Hall wants different motor brands and trolling motors available. I'm sure we will get to those as well.
A koi carp tournament.
So we've actually made some improvements to some of the character textures, and their faces are looking a lot better. I do want to get the wind direction display in the game as well, and make that a bit more of a feature, and for there to be sort of gameplay knock-ons for the different, for fishing the same lake in different ways depending on the wind direction. That is something on my list to improve, and which is also on the list with what Chad's talking about, which is seasons and having the water temperature, and making a bigger deal about the water temperature and the effects that has on the fish behaviour. So at the moment, what it would do is the each of the fish species are set up with different ideal temperatures and what depths of water they like being in different temperatures. But there's more we can do there with the simulation that I hope to get a chance to do. Savage Reaper. Lovely friendly names. Is asking about blue catfish in the future. Yeah, so we got the channel catfish coming with this update, but blues and flatheads are on the list. Ooh, Muddy the Car Guy is asking about the new 13 fish in soft plastics. So I did get a prototype of a new 13 fishing item. I think it's due to be announced at iCast this year. So more news on those when I can tell you, Muddy the Car Guy. So Gamer Man's asking whether in the future Pro Tour is going to be online. So at the moment it's an offline. I mean, obviously you can be online with it, but it's a single player mode at the moment. It's you against the AI competitors. K12's asking for Arkansas Lake. I would like to do one of those as well, mate. So they are on the list, but I can't tell you when we would get there. So we're always looking for new venues. Matt Hall suggesting a bass only match series event. We've not done one of those, have we?
No. I like the ideas.
That's a good idea, Matt.
How many weeks are there in July 4?
That's a very dark tench. Was that on the float?
Yeah. No, that was just thingy. Bottom date.
No selecting boats in Bergsea. See you, Caroline.
Bye, Caroline.
Any chance there's ever real tackle giveaways? Possibly not on the stream, but there'll probably be some giveaways that are doing on the Facebook page. So I'm sure you're following that. So I'm sure we'll get there. Christopher Ward is saying that he would like there to be more of a difference in the more and less expensive rods and reels. I agree, and I'm going to come up with a plan to make it so. So I'll let you know more about that when I can, and I've done it, but that's not going to be for October. October? Oh, did I say October? Not for July, I meant.
There's a thinking many updates ahead.
That's what That's what we do here. Loads of updates coming for you guys. Not just this massive one in July. You'll get, you'll keep getting more after that as well. Oh.
So my habit of breaking the game. It's extended to the controller now.
I was going to say, I'm not kicking the cable out, am I? Oh, doo-doo-doo. So Dustin's asking if you're going to see the AI competitors on the lake with you. No, we haven't got that working at the moment. So it's just you'll just see them changing position in the scoreboards.
The different parts of our office at the moment, like us guys over in like the publishing, marketing, and the dev side, both look like tackle warehouse at the moment. So, could have stuff.
What are you guys most looking forward to in the Pro Tour update?
Very good question.
Good question, Dean, on YouTube. I really like the trout. They're great. They look great. The sheer amount of events and stuff that we've got for you to keep you busy and to keep you playing is great. I think the career jerseys look great, especially when you can, if you get off sponsorship offers from those brands, those brands that your favourite brands, and you can then equip your shirt with the brands that you like. That looks really cool. What also looks really cool is that you can actually wear a hat and sunglasses together. So that's good. Yeah. I think the fishing's getting better and better. I've improved the differences that the different species that different lures and baits attract. We've obviously got the size 2 hooks, the dead baits, which is going to be great for the targeting catfish. So it's going to be easier for you to make choices in your equipment which allow you to target the sort of species that you're going for. So I like that we're, as well as adding a big feature like a career mode, we're just constantly making these small improvements all over the game to just sort of keep improving that simulation experience. So that was quite a few things that I'm quite looking forward to. Obviously, the 3 new lakes going in is great. That's gonna give us loads to play with on the DFL as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's at the moment setting out the tournaments. We have 2 bass lakes in the core to play with, so having 5 will make it a lot easier to schedule, and then put in the add-on lakes in between that. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, thanks, Tim. I've just read your comment there on YouTube. He says, thanks for all your hard work. You guys are very dedicated and you have made a fan and customer for life. You guys should be very proud and deserve a huge pat on the back.
Thank you, Tim.
Cheers, Tim.
Right, you're the developer.
I saw another one. So Neil is asking if there's career mode's got difficulty settings. So yes. So what there is amateur, pro, and elite. Now, as you compete in events, you'll earn tour like these sort of league unlock points. So if you do well enough in amateur and you finish a season, if you scored enough points during that season, you will have the option. You'll have unlocked pro mode, pro level, and you can move up to that if you wish. However, if you go up to pro level and you think this is too hard, I'm not winning, I'm not enjoying it as much as I was in amateur, you can end the season and you can go back down to amateur. So it's up to you to choose which levels you play at. Okay. Carl Counts would like to see. So, are you trying to encourage those fish out there?
I'm just breaking things.
Carl Counts has brought up a very important subject here, and he's talking about customizations like beards and different kinds of hats instead of just caps. This is where it's at. I'm with you, Carl. We definitely need some beards.
There were quite a beardy development teams.
Most of the developers have most of the team have got a beard or excessive stubble of some sort. So I agree with you, and also different hats, because who doesn't love a novelty hat? Obviously, we
did do the Christmas hat.
We gave you guys the Christmas hat, but yeah, I agree. We do need some beards and hats, and but obviously I've got to balance that against all the simulation stuff I do, and we're trying to do. So I would, yeah, we'll get there. We will get there. We will get there. So Richard Jones is asking, does the improved target-specific gear setup mean we should have less of an issue with nuisance species? Yes, Richard. That is what I'm trying to do, is to allow you to make tackle choices, which, there's always chance that the species you're not targeting could still take the particular bait or lure that you're using, but experimenting with different ones, you may find some that cut out more than others. I'm in two minds about how much I expose and tell you exactly how it works, and then how and then leaving elements of it for you guys to discover through experimentation on your own. But yes, that is the goal, to keep allowing, is to give you guys the choices that's going to make the difference. And so some of that is coming in July, but it's something I want to continuously sort of do and improve as with each update that we do. So as always, any feedback that you've got on stuff like that, then do let me know. K12's asking if we're doing any hiring. So it depends. What's your skill set? What are you? Are you a designer? Are you a programmer? I'm sure there's jobs running on the Dovetail Games website with the probably a /jobs or something like that.
Careers, or
careers maybe,
lines.
yeah. So F1 Motorsport is asking if we can select the older blue theme. No, it's not the older blue theme. It's not available as an option. But Gamer Man wants Lake Okeechobee. That would be cool as well.
Where's Okeechobee in Florida?
Don't worry, Dave. We're gonna keep making it better, mate. So we'll get to the ocean at some point, but we've got lots of freshwater stuff still to come. Tim thinks one of the female characters has a man's face. I will give that feedback to the artist. Ooh, wooden boats for fishing in Bergsea or some of the other lakes. Interesting. Any chance of an event for Father's Day or some shirts for the dads that play? I think it's a bit. I can't. It's too late. I can't put anything else in for the game to get out for you for Father's Day, I'm afraid. Dustin's asking for Lake Chickamauga, however you say it. Cool name. I would like that one as well. We are looking with our, you've noticed with with two of the lakes we've added in for this July update, we're going with Gunnersville and Lake Travis. So when where we're looking to do future American lakes, we are looking for them to be real world locations, and we have a short list. We're trying to do ones that are often featured on whether it's the MLF or the FLW or the Bassmaster tours. So we will keep doing those. Christopher Ward wants different bobbers. Yes, big an update with all the floats and the bobbers coming later this year will include pike floats as well as different types of bobbers and the ability for you to adjust the hook length. Chad wants me to give a shout out to the North American Dovetail League on Facebook. So for people in that time zone over there, they have weekly and season tournaments. So that would if anybody is interested in hooking up with other people in North America to play some fishing and join a special league, then Chad does loads of great work on the Facebook page there. So hook him up. North American Dovetail League, it's called. Right. So Dave says he's a 3D model artist and has been modelling. Ah. You'll have to send us some examples of your work, Dave, to see if we've got any. Maybe you've got some. Maybe if you made some equipment and put it up on Turbo Squid, we'd buy it directly from you there. Who knows? Stranger things have happened. Big Timer J wants the stock pond feature. I want the stock pond feature as well, but it's a little way down the list. We've got lots to go. Carl Counts is up for some South American fishing like the Amazon River. Yes. More news on that in the future when I can bring it to you. Glass bottom boats. Are you having a laugh, Scooby? Okay. Right.
For us, it is currently 5:32 p.m.
It's 5:32, and
we do have.
I've got to go back to work, really.
We do have another Facebook group shout out. It's almost at 1,500 members. It's Gary Spire's group, the Fish Sim World Social fan group. Good group.
Join those guys. Join us.
There are a good few groups on Facebook, so if you look around, join them. I know. Can't remember who runs it, but Scooby and Big Time J have got one as well. There's some good groups out there. Join them.
Yeah, exactly. Like Stephen says, me and him are both active on those community groups. So when you're not here talking to us directly on the stream, you might be able to get in touch with us, and we can discuss future Fish Sim World features, updates, improvements. All that good stuff on the community group. So get involved. Let us know what you want. Okay. Neil Mosley's asking. He's trying to get more information out of me about a certain lake in Thailand with all the monster fish in. Another stream, Neil. It's going to be another stream.
Give it like 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay. Right. Dave says he's got fish models.
Ooh.
What's your Turbo Squid name, Dave? Oh, there we go. Cool. Right. I will check it out, Dave.
Yeah, strap there.
I will send it to me. Where's my pen gone?
Oh.
It's rolled over there. Right. Okay, right. Are we going to say goodbye? Any last questions? No more time for last questions. We're going to play. What are we going to play for the people? We're going to play the Species Trader. What are you going to play for them on the way out?
Let me do some quick wizardry.
Right. Thanks everybody, as always, for joining us. Lovely to have you all back. And we will be. Who's on next week, Steve?
Should be Sam and Aaron, I think. They're back. Hopefully, if they're not too busy.
Should be Sam and Aaron next week. It might be the case that I don't know. Maybe I'll end up coming back. So who knows? But yeah, as always, thanks for the great questions. It would be really hard for me to just talk for an hour if you guys weren't throwing questions at me. So yeah, appreciate that. And have a good week, and we'll chat to you all soon. Bye.
See ya.
Show me a tune I can nod to. Getting this rhythm, I'm riding on top. Dropping it heavy, not ready to stop. Banging on beats like a throw on the block. Bouncing about and it's ready